Here we are. How to build / test a customer discovery and idea validation website. This is your landing page, and it really does test your messaging right out of the gate. And what I advise is treat it like a startup. Treat it like an MVP. You should be going through iterative phases. And if you do this right, you will literally have thousands of versions of your messaging, and you're going to test it and you're going to get feedback, and it's going to go back and forth. This is the problem. When someone asks me, okay, marketing, how should I message this? Now, I'm not a marketing expert, but I've worked for agencies, I've hired agencies, and I'm telling you, nobody knows, especially if you're building something new and you're building a new solution to solve a problem that typically people don't think that they need to solve, and all that stuff. And you're introducing novel concepts looking for behavioral change. There's no messaging that exists because you're doing something new. So you have to approach it like a startup and make it an iterative process. And that's the phase, like lean startup. Instead of build, measure, learn, it's try, measure, learn. So where do you start and how do you figure this out? Well, we're going to use our good friend Leo's website as an example here. All right. Okay. So we all heard what Leo is doing: asynchronous video screening interviews. All right. Now, immediately when Leo talks, I go, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. When Leo's not talking, and if I didn't have the benefit of talking to him and I go to his website, I'm like, I have no idea what this is right away. Like, this first thing. And this is your first issue that occurs when anybody's testing their landing pages. The internal reality and the external perception are completely different. I say this to founders all the time. If I was trapped in an elevator with you for 5 minutes, and I say, what do you do? And you went, I do this and I do that. I'd probably walk away saying, can I have your card? Super interested. But if I had 5 minutes to spare and I go to one of these landing pages, and this is very common, I go, that makes no sense to me whatsoever. Like, I don't get it. And plus, my attention span, I don't have the benefit of talking to you as a live person with interaction and your comedic timing and good looks to, dazzle me and get me enthralled in the conversation. Well, you're not going to have that on the website. So you are at a disadvantage right out of the gate. So if we look at this again, and Leo is being very gracious to let us use this. So I'm going to be just very direct. Okay. Interviewing is a hassle, but it doesn't have to be. Try for free. What am I trying for free? It makes no sense whatsoever. And there's no reason for me to click on the explainer video. And when I clicked on the explainer video, it was all sales. Okay. You're selling, you're selling, you're selling. And that is a mistake. Don't sell, test your value proposition. That's the reason I call it a customer discovery and idea validation website. You want to test whether the key elements make sense or not right away. And I'm going to give you the formula that I use over and over again as a starting point for my testing. And it's super simple. Okay. This is how I test it. And by no means is this where you're going to end up in the final iteration of your website. There's a formula that I teach, like attention, interest, desire, things like that, right? Evidence, conviction, close, all that stuff. It's all in the marketing manuals. But how do you even know what to put into marketing that way? Here, you're going to use this simple formula. All right. It's simple. What? When? How? Who? Okay. What, when, how, who? And it is literally like 4 sections, 4 headlines, and 4 little sections on your website. You want to keep it as sparse as possible. So it's simple. Okay. What does your solution do? What does it do? What does it do? No marketing fluff. Okay. So you start off asynchronous screening video interviews. Okay. Then when do you need it? Okay. By the way, this is all, and everything here answers why, right? But you're just breaking it down. When do you need it? When you need to save time and you're doing when interviews suck, etc. Okay. How does it work? Give me a 3-step thing. Sign up. This person, contacts this. You can do respond. A lot of that stuff was in the explainer video already. Okay. And then who is this for? This is where you start to segment. Okay. And you say, okay, it's for this persona, this persona, this persona, and you add more benefits. If you're a recruiter or, all that stuff. Because if they know what it is and they're interested when they need it, they're like, yeah, I agree. And how it works, that makes sense to me. Who is this for? That's the nail in the coffin. That's a bad word. That's like the close that you're putting in there. This is for you. And basically you say, this is who you can become. If you use my service, you will become a superstar, et cetera, et cetera. You want to appeal to the identity. That's literally how simple it is. And then what you do is you test that out in a PowerPoint or a landing page. You send it out to people and you say, does this make sense? It's got no marketing fluff whatsoever. Because you don't want people to get hung up on your marketing fluff. You want people to give you feedback on whether it makes sense or not. So let's go back again. Leo's very gracious, allowing us to do this, right? Okay, so this is all marketing fluff. Interviewing is a hassle, but it doesn't have to be. Slogans, kitschy slogans, I don't care. I do not care. Okay, can you relate? No, I don't relate. Okay, nothing lies like a resume. Negative, right away. Okay, you're saying people lie, all this stuff. It puts us in a negative thing. You don't want to do that. Hiring offshore, getting a little better in terms of the when question. I'm sorry, can you repeat that, please? These headlines mean nothing to me. How good are your notes, etc. Panel interviews. And then finally we have a solution for you. And then you're expecting me to click the next button, right? Now, all this time I've already missed. This is how it works. I've already missed clicking the explainer video, but the explainer video pretty much just says what's on the website, in the beginning pages. So how could we improve this? Okay, right away. So Leo, if I just say, I'm going to mark this up. Okay, so what is it? Simple in one sentence. Give it to me. What is it? Your turn to talk, Leo.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's a way to pre-screen your candidates using a video recorded, clips.
Pre-screen your candidates using asynchronous video clips.
Mhm.
Okay, simple. What? All right. Then when does someone need this? Give me some, when is this most important or critical? When is it most painful? Give me the top reason when someone would need this.
When you need to determine who you're going to have a one-on-one interview.
Okay.
You're going through the list.
Okay, great. So this is when you need it. All right. Now, how, you've already got a lot of how explanation, on that, right? So, but you want to break it down and you literally want to have it like just, and this is what I love about, websites these days is, I'm going to mark this up again, 3 or 4 steps. Boom. Step 1, 2, 3, 4. Yay. Right? That's how it works. How it works as simple as possible so that they get it. Right? And then who is this for? So let's answer the question. Who is this for?
Hiring managers or recruiters.
Okay. Hiring manager. Okay. So now hiring manager recruiters are 2 separate personas, right? So at the bottom of the page, you have hiring managers. So you got, 2 things. You got hiring managers here and recruiters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you put some bullet points on the benefits for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a call to action, very simple. Click here to get started. And that's where you put your thing. Or watch this video if you need more explanation on, how it's going to work and all that stuff. It's just straightforward. right? So that's where you close it. This is, I'm talking to you, this is who you can be, and this is how you're going to close it. And then you test, and you will probably have 30 different versions of this. You're going to swap A/B test what statements and all this stuff, and you're going to get it back, and you are going to sit people down. You're going to make them and say, listen, what do you or don't you understand? Like, and what do you need to tell me that you're worried about offending me on? Don't worry about that. If you knew you can offend me, tell me. And they'll just say, doesn't make sense. Like, and then you ask them, well, how did you interpret it? Like, what does that say to you? If I say asynchronous interviewing, they may be thinking, oh, I was thinking about this, type stuff. I get confused on the wording all the time, or I may find out a certain word has a certain, like the other day, my co-founder, he was like, oh yeah, and we need to get these young people, in there, and we need to start grooming them. And I'm like, yeah, these days, the word grooming is not something we want to be publicly stating, out there. It's a hot button, in the media. And he was like, oh yeah, that's right. Right. So you may hit certain trigger words that you're not getting and that you didn't understand. So all you do is you go what, when, how, who, and you get those 4 building blocks down pat. After you get the 4 building blocks down pat, then you can work on your language. Then you can work on the headlines and the emotional content and, stuff that's going to press those buttons and motivate them. But until you know what you even want to communicate, then it's not going to work. And that's how I test. And I literally do this live. Even before creating a website, setting it in the wild, I'll sit someone down and say, I'm going to show you 4 slides. This is what it does, when you need it, and how it works, and then who's this for? And I'm going to point at you, and I'm going to go back. Okay, so give me the feedback. What did you get? What didn't you get? And they're like, yeah. And I wait for say, yep, I get it. I totally get it. I see what you're doing. And that's what happens. All right. So let's get into questions in a bit, but that's your little ditty on how to start this process of testing all these things. And there are many other opinions out there and models. I use this because what, when, how, who actually cycles through the brain. Okay. It's something that we've researched, and asking those questions and giving the answer to those questions helps sort of the brain go to the top floor. And who is an important question because it stimulates the executive control center, like your prefrontal cortex. So they're like, oh yeah, this is my identity. This is who I want to be, the best recruiter in the world, type thing. And it actually gets them going. So you're using brain science, neuroscience in your favor, to your advantage. All right. So that's the reason. It's just something I use. Lots of different opinions out there, but there you have it.